Welcome to Crypto Sapiens, a show that hosts lively discussions with innovative Web3 builders to help you learn about decentralized money systems, including Ethereum, Bitcoin, and DeFi. The podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and it is not financial advice. Crypto Sapiens is presented in partnership with Bankless DAO, a movement for pioneers seeking freedom from the limitations of the traditional financial system. Bankless DAO will help the world go bankless by creating user-friendly on-ramps for people to discover decentralized financial technologies through education, media, and culture. Hello, everyone, and we're back with another episode of Crypto Sapiens. Today, we are talking with Joel Lin, contributor at CitaDAO, to learn about the DeFi real estate ecosystem. We explore CitaDAO and its mission not just to tokenize real estate, but build the Ethereum of Real Estate. Let's get started.
Hey, Humpty. Thanks for this opportunity. And hi, everyone. So my name is Joel, and I'm a contributor at CitaDAO. And so my journey kind of began back in 2008. I was actually previously with real estate institutional investors, helping them invest in real estate over the past 12 years. Previously, I was with UBS Investment Bank, CapitaLand, which is a huge developer in Asia, and CBRE. So my crypto journey itself began proper back in around 2017, 2018. At the point in time, believe STO tokenization was all the hype. And sitting on the institutional landlord side, we received many real estate tokenization requests to kind of tokenize our real estate by injecting our properties into their project. But I guess when we brought this back to the management team to discuss, there were two very glaring issues that we couldn't get good answer to. One is how we could legitimately enforce our rights to redeem the property with the real estate token. And two, how we could exchange the real estate token for liquidity in the secondary market. And obviously, because we couldn't get a convincing answer from any other project, we didn't really go ahead with any of them. But nonetheless, couple of folks, legal folks and myself, we got together and we started brainstorming on a legal structure that will solve this problem, at least the right to redeem the underlying title deed with the real estate token. And we kind of combed a number of jurisdictions all around the world. And we found that it was back in October 2020, so quite a bit of effort was put in there, that we had a breakthrough. And we found that within the Commonwealth legal framework, there is actually a pathway, a gateway to building this structure. We managed to get a prestigious law firm with more than 100 years of experience, specializing in real estate law, to issue a legal opinion that validate the legitimacy of our structure. Took this to a family office. They got their legal counsel to look into it. They were confident about it, injected their real estate portfolio into this project. So they're willing to exchange their title deed for real estate token. And as a result, this is how we kind of begin. We subsequently reached out to members of the DeFi community, invited them to build the DAO together. And the response was overwhelming and very supportive. So today, it is a little more than 1 year since the genesis of the CitaDAO project. And so we have come a long way, and we are very excited to share with you our journey to introducing real estate on Web 3.0.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You mentioned a couple of things there that I think we're going to unpack throughout this conversation. And one of them is, tokenizing these assets, finding a way to exchange the liquidity of that and transferring I guess the value from digital assets to real world assets. And then, of course, kind of legal framework that was necessary, I guess, to be able to build something of this nature. So it's really interesting that you have such a comprehensive view of how this could work and should work. So let's start from the beginning. Really, what inspired you personally to take on this challenge of building a product in real estate and at the intersection of real estate and DeFi?
Oh, so the thing about it is, I have been in the real estate universe, real estate space for the past 12 years. That's a decade, right? And anyone who specializes in real estate, even in the private equity space, you will realize that it's kind of a boring, very low innovation kind of area, and that's that. And the thing about it is today's real estate, the way we see it, and it frustrates me a lot. It lacks accessibility, it lacks liquidity, and it lacks composability. You're looking at a 280 trillion market out there, and a whole bunch of debt capital is locked. That means money that is not doing anything. It's not earning interest, not being invested, not being used to drive the economy. Now, think about it in another manner. If let's say you're holding on to cash today, right, and you take the cash, and even if you were to put that cash into a bank deposit, a fixed deposit account, no matter how later it is, you're still going to earn some interest on top of that. But try depositing your real estate title deed in a bank and asking the bank to give you interest on the equity of the real estate title deed. You're not going to get anything, right? That's not possible. So that's what I mean by locked capital. Our plan is to use DeFi to unlock that capital by improving accessibility, liquidity, and composability. And we believe that by doing this, not only can we drive demand for real estate on chain, we can increase the capital efficiency and enhance the overall fair value of the real estate universe. In fact, we believe that in future, there will be two sets of prices for real estate. The price of real estate on chain and the price of real estate off chain. And the idea is that the real estate on chain will always have a higher value than the real estate off chain because there will be more use cases that we can create for the real estate tokens on chain in the DeFi space, unlike the limited use cases for real estate off chain today that is constrained by existing limitations of how we can unlock that capital in real estate. So that's kind of what motivated me because we saw the potential of how DeFi, how Web3 can unlock all that accessibility, all that liquidity via composability in real estate and make real estate a very exciting asset class that we can aim into. Now, today you buy a piece of real estate, right? Let's say let's say a house for $1 million, right? And if you go about the traditional way of trying to recover your initial outlay, initial capital in that real estate, it's going to take you at least 20, 30 years to recover the initial outlay, which, to be honest, is kind of inefficient in the way we see it. Now, imagine being able to deposit your real estate title deed, right, and earn an interest of at least 20% APY a year, right? Within 5 years, you can recover the initial outlay that you put into real estate. And that is what we think we can do with DeFi today. Better capital efficiency.
Yeah, when I think about DeFi, I think of two things. I think of several things, to be honest. But one is accessibility and the other one is disruption, right? And I think that those are two very different, strong but very different narratives. I think in terms of accessibility, I think of like how can we enable anyone to participate in this financial ecosystem without necessarily, kind of some of the constraints in traditional finance or limitations of traditional finance. And, I think that there is a lot more freedom in the way that DeFi operates, where anyone can participate in these protocols and can earn, some yield, whether it's, through tokens that they earn or, some other mechanisms. And the other is disruption, right? And there are systems in place in traditional finance that have worked and do work and have been working for quite some time. But they're definitely, to borrow a word from yours, they're not very efficient. And they don't necessarily allow for people to really earn on what they own, right? On these assets that they own. And I think DeFi has been very creative in finding innovative ways to allow people to unlock that capital. Again, just to keep borrowing words from you, because I really, truly appreciate you introducing this language to this discussion so that we can explore it a little bit further. So yeah, certainly I think as a homeowner, you have invested into this to this asset class that allows you, right, to have some sort of ownership right to some sort of real world asset, but also some investment opportunity. But the growth of it is very slow, and the opportunities are very limited. So I really do like what you're bringing up here in terms of unlocking the opportunities within some of these different elements that make up your I guess your property, which is equity, right? So walk me through. Let's pretend I am someone who has a property, and to quote you, let's say $1 million property, and I have an equity about 50% of that, and I want to use that. How could someone leverage that and start using CitaDAO to be able to unpack that?
Now, that's a very good question. And I have the perfect answer for that. So to understand how you can do that, you will have to kind of understand how we work. So our platform, and we believe we are the only one that out there that does this, is a permissionless two-way tokenization bridge for real estate, which means that in order to unpack that equity, you do have to give up ownership of that whole property by selling it to an SPV, okay, and effectively getting like cash in return for that. Now, if you are hoping to keep any of that as equity, that's you have to do it by way of real estate token. So the very first step you need to do is to convert your title deed into the real estate token. And the platform allows you to do that by way of listing your property after the typical due diligence ownership verification check. A bit like how you will list your property on Zillow. At a point in time, after you list it, the DeFi community will then be invited to participate in what we call interest fractions of the property through a process called IRO, known as introducing real estate on chain. So during this IRO process, you could choose to either give up all your equity and collect it all in cash, or you could choose to keep some of it in real estate tokens and unlock the rest in cash. Up to you, right? But the key is to convert everything to tokens first. Once the IRO is successful, the bridge will be formed. NFT that represents the economic legal benefits to the real estate will be minted. This NFT will be custodied in a smart contract, and fractions of the smart contract, which is ERC20 fungible tokens, these are the real estate tokens that will then be deposited into the buyer's wallet. And these tokens will then be tradable on the AMM. Now, with these tokens in place, you can unlock that equity a few ways. One, you could put that into a liquidity pool, pay out with USDC, and farm and liquidity mine the CitaDAO governance platform token, which I can explain a little bit further how you accrue value. So that's how you get your 20% APY, and that's how you kind of recover the initial capital you put into the real estate tokens in 5 years or less. Alternatively, what we have been doing, we have been speaking with some of the lending protocols out there, the likes of Abracadabra Money, the likes of Very Capital, as of Cream, for example, and they're keen to look at the idea of collateralized real estate tokens. The key to making this happen was actually the Chainlink bridge, which we managed to integrate with Chainlink last month, literally December, right? So now, with the Chainlink bridge, we are able to bring real world valuation of real estate on chain to set up liquidation strategy, LTV ratios, and so on and so forth. Now you can literally obtain your mortgage of your real estate on chain. No longer do you have to wait like 30 days, fill out a whole bunch of documents, declare, dox yourself to the banks inside out before they will even give you money. This is a 5 minutes, totally a non-process whereby you deposit your real estate token into one of the lending pools, and out comes the USDC, USDT, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever the other token is, right? And that's how you can unlock that liquidity.
So I'm going to rewind a little bit here because there was a lot here that you brought up, even terminology that maybe our audience is not familiar with, particularly I'm not familiar with. So I'd like to learn a little bit more. You started off by saying the process starts with giving up ownership, selling it to the SPV. What is an SPV?
SPV is a special purpose vehicle. It is set up to ensure that that the real estate token holders get clean title of the underlying title deed. Now, anybody who have experience dealing with real estate globally will understand that title deeds are not as clean as they always appear to be most time. The only way you can get absolutely clear and clean title deed is to transfer the title deed. Because during the transfer process, any existing encumbrances, any existing mortgage, loans, pledge, liens on the title deed will get removed. Because the last thing you want to do is to go into a title deed thinking that you have control of the title deed, only to find out later on that somebody else have a claim over that same title deed because the landlord took the title deed and went to apply for, went to collateralize it, like maybe to 30 different individuals, right? And that's the last thing you want, right? So the only way to ensure that you are the only one that have the legitimate claim to the title deed is to transfer title deed into a brand new clean SPV.
Got it. And so during this transfer, who are you transferring it to? Is it to a smart contract?
No, it won't be a smart contract. It will be a legitimate company in holding company. So it's a special purpose vehicle. So it's a legitimate company in the real world space set up just to hold the title deed of that property.
Understood. Okay. All right. I'm following you so far. So the other thing that you were talking about was, right, you're converting this title into a token. And you were talking about, let's see, what did I write here? Oh, yeah. So you're able to convert everything into a token. When you say everything, are we talking about the equity, all of the equity, or are you talking about the entire property? And so you're tokenizing it all, including whatever maybe the bank may own.
The title deed of the property, that's one, and all the assets of the SPV, that's two. So you will be laying claims to all of this. and you will have superior claims over anyone else.
Okay. All right. So I guess what the question that leads from that is how permissionless, and I'll clarify what that means in a little bit, is this process. So does this process need to have some sort of permission from the bank that's holding the title, or, is this something completely separate from that?
That's a good question. So one thing that happened during this entire transformation process from title deed to tokens is that we remove the bank completely from the system. In our platform, no bank is involved. Literally bankless.
Okay, that's very interesting. So does that mean that this special purpose vehicle then is the new owner buys out the bank's share of that title? In other words, like we were talking about, pretending this $1 million home has a 50% equity, the other 50% would still be owned by the bank. Does that get bought out then?
Yes, you have, for the IRO to be successful, 100% of the building have to be bought out. The bank have to be redeemed.
Yeah. Okay. That's very clear now. Thank you. And I appreciate you walking me through here and helping me understand this process a lot more clearly. So you talked about Chainlink, and I think Chainlink definitely has become one of those protocols that is incredibly valuable to the DeFi space. So what does that integration with Chainlink look like? What is the data that you're currently pulling from Chainlink in order to allow for this protocol, CitaDAO, to work?
So what we are pulling from Chainlink is real world valuation of the property on a monthly basis. So there will be at least 2 or 3 valuers, the likes of your global valuers like JLL, CBRE, Cushman & Wakefield, SubDAOs, Knight Franks, that will be appointed to the property. They will be doing a monthly valuation, and that monthly valuation will be fed through Chainlink, dumped on chain for any permissionless protocols, lending protocols to pick up, so that lending pools could be set up. And that's actually quite interesting, because it won't be used to set up stable coins, right? For example, imagine locking up the real estate tokens and being able to mint stable coins backed by real estate tokens based on the real world valuation of the real estate itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that works. So just generally now, what stage is CitaDAO at? Like, is it completely operational? Are you launching soon? Like, what is someone able to do on the platform today?
So we have come a long way, and January is going to be an exciting month for us. We will be TGing in January. So look out for it. So the tokens will be available. The CitaDAO platform tokens will be available for those who earn it to enjoy the fruits of their contribution to the project. Especially those who are on Discord channel, they earn the most from that. Right? And then the next one we'll be having after that is our first IRO, and that's going to be very interesting, because this IRO, so we have a pipeline of buildings, all the real estate buildings, 240 million across 8 assets, all locked in already, ready to go. And out of this portfolio, we pick the most significant one to do our Genesis tokenization on chain. It is a HSBC bank building in the capital city of Wales in UK. So it's located in Cardiff, right? And that is very interesting, because for the longest time, banks have been discriminating against the DeFi community have cases where myself and friends, the moment we mention that the source of fund came from crypto or something like that, our funds get frozen, or our accounts get get kind of locked or closed. Yeah, and it's very frustrating, right? So it will be interesting this time around to start collecting rents from the bank and see what they're going to do about that, right? So and yeah, and what's going to be even more interesting is the fact that these rents, if you look at it from this point of view, is actually like the banks. It can be symbolized as the banks paying homage to the DeFi space, to the DeFi community, to the crypto community, and I don't think they can run away from not paying rent, right? So that will be quite interesting to see what happens. Yeah, and it's their main branch building in the capital of Wales. I don't think they're going to give that up easily.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, so this sounds like this really big event happening. Did you say at the end of January?
Yeah, we're targeting at the end of January, right? Oh yeah. So back to progress, right? Our smart contracts have been audited and cleared by ABDK, and it's available for inspection. The audit report is available for inspection on our website. If you want to do that, we are currently going to be introducing the community to our testnet to familiarize them with the platform, so that when the actual IRO take place, everybody will be familiar with how to use it. And we really hope to make this a success, because this is not going to be just a tokenization of any building. We are literally going to be taking out the main branch of HSBC, of one of the biggest banks, traditional finance banks in the world, in the capital city of Wales, UK, right? So that's going to make a hell of a statement, and we will be setting hopefully the trend for 2022, where it's not just metaverse real estate that we are looking at, it's real world real estate that we are bringing on chain. And imagine the amount of TVL we can bring on chain with all this real estate. So that's what we've been looking forward to, and that's the stage of progress for CitaDAO.
Yeah, that's excellent. So let's go back to this experiment, right, or to this I guess beta test of how this will work at the end of January, at least where you're projecting it to kick that off. So when this IRO kicks off, this is going to be a real building, it sounds like, right in the heart of this city. So what's going to happen if this is successful? This is then going to tokenize this deed, and people are going to be able to own a piece of this and maybe even earn rent from, like, as a dividend from any money earned from the people that are inside of this real world building.
So the thing about it, glad you touched a little bit on rent. The rent here will not be distributed as dividend. In fact, it will be used to buy back the real estate token on a regular basis and burn the real estate token. So it's a bit like a stock buyback. And there are tax benefits to this. In some jurisdictions, for example, like Singapore, capital gains are not considered taxable. So effectively, you get that secondary advantage from there, right? And the real estate, the rental itself inherently provides liquidity, secondary market liquidity for the short-term real estate token holders looking to exit. It supplements the liquidity pools. So and it will help to support the price of the real estate token itself.
Wow, that's some deep tokenomics y'all got going there on this project. So what is like the sentiment on the community so far? So this is CitaDAO, right? So this is a decentralized autonomous organization. So what's the construct of the organization as a DAO? And, how are people today able to participate in the DAO? And how do you see people joining the DAO in the future and being a part of this, this project?
Yeah, so we are a very young DAO. As you can probably guess by now, we are probably light years away from where Bankless DAO is. If Bankless DAO is Bankless DAO 2.0, we are probably around like 0.1, 0.2 at the initial stage. And what we do need support and help with is building our own DAO infrastructure, our own DAO policies, our own DAO protocols, because we have been getting very strong flow of participants who really wanted to contribute towards the DAO, and we do want to onboard them. It's just that at this point in time, we don't have the necessary infrastructure to do it efficiently and effectively. So anyone who have the experience building a DAO, or operating a DAO, and you want to try getting challenged by building a DAO from scratch, we welcome you to join us and earn the CitaDAO token in the process. So that's one. Obviously, engineers are welcome, especially front-end engineers. Our back end is all secured already. So right now, the only stuff left is integration of the front end with the back end as much as possible. So we do welcome front end engineers. And more importantly, I guess it is the community that we want to grow here. So marketing, community, team members, especially the marketing ones that is familiar with how to grow a DAO community base via integration with other DAOs, like Bankless DAO, for example. We welcome you to join us. We believe that the future of DAO is not one DAO universe. In fact, there is strength in unity. And the more DAO we can string together, the stronger we become against any kind of DeFi efforts, right? Because then the systematic risk is even higher than. And so, so we welcome those who appreciate how DAO operate, the importance of building DAOs together, the partnerships and everything, to join our community to help us build more relationship with other DAOs.
Yeah. For me, one of the more interesting things about Web3 is its composability and interoperability. And I think that that's true for, DeFi. I think it's proven that DeFi Summer for me, is proof of the fact that its composability was a huge reason for its success, right? We got a lot of really interesting protocols being born from this like Lego, these money Legos. And so the same is true for some of these other Web3 implementations like NFTs and DAOs. And so DAOs certainly are very early, very young. They're barely getting, in my opinion, enough attention in terms of what they are and what the value proposition is to them. But the same will be true for DAOs as it has been for DeFi, and as NFTs are discovering, is that composability, that interoperability is going to be super important. But more interestingly, I think, because it's not these Legos of protocols, right? Of these like non-sentient programs, but it's of humans, of people with real emotions and different perspectives that I think will create a very rich ecosystem and environment to participate in. So I agree with you. I think that there is a lot of value in the cooperation between DAOs. And I think we're seeing just the very beginning of it. But I think a lot of people also are heads down trying to build up these really interesting ideas. But as I think some of these ideas mature into products, that have real adoption, we're going to see that next phase of Web3 in DAOs, which I think is going to be the most interesting one, where there's going to be this interoperability and this composability between them.
Yeah, totally agree. And who knows, right? What the future will bring with with all this composability. And the beauty about all this integration is that sometimes when two or more DAOs integrate, a new product that nobody imagined could even imagine at this point in time might even be born, right? A new star is born, and that star goes on to 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 form even more systems, more communities, more DAOs that just kind of grow on top of each other.
I've seen that happen. I see that happen regularly. I like to pride myself almost as a explorer, right, of sorts, where I'm always on the lookout for some interesting ideas or conversations and people and the type of projects that they are spinning up and driving forward. And the one thing that I've seen is even within DAOs, there are these people, communities, products that are born that almost feel like they need to be let loose a little bit more and spin out and create something of their own. And so I think that's where we're seeing this conversation of SubDAOs also come up. And I know you mentioned that word previously, so maybe a good opportunity to talk about, your thoughts on SubDAOs and maybe how that could be a part of what CitaDAO is.
Oh yeah, that's very timely. So speaking of which, we didn't imagine this would happen, right? But after we started CitaDAO, one of our community member actually, we were actually sharing on one of our community calls about how we see the future of real estate tokens being a third asset class that will help the crypto native diversify. Because today you have your crypto native portfolio will consist of either your native tokens, which are like highly volatile kind of digital asset class, or your stable coins, which have very low volatility but are subjected to inflation risk, right? And we thought that real estate tokens in the future could be a way for the degens and the crypto native to hedge against inflation on chain, because by right it's supposed to have a negative correlation with stablecoins, and it's supposed to be low volatility. So we thought that was a very interesting diversification strategy. And the next moment, one of our community member went out there and started this thing called the inflationless DAO, and started talking to us about integrating inflationless DAO together with our community, because their inflationless DAO could act as a hedge against inflation for other DAO on chain, right? And we thought that's a brilliant idea, and we shared this with our community, and interestingly, some of our community members decided to start supporting it, and it's growing. It's kind of like a baby that we didn't expect to be born. I mean, don't take it the wrong way, but it's a good thing, and it's now running parallel to us, and we'll be very interested to see how it grow in the future too. For all you know, it might spawn its own set of SubDAOs, right?
I personally look forward to it because I think that means that you've given people plenty of agency to create, right? And isn't that the purpose of a decentralized organization? Is to be able to allow people to kind of individuate and add value in their own ways, and hopefully, bring that value back to the parent DAO, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't just have to be value back to the parent DAO, right? It could bring lots of value to other DAO treasuries, for all you know. Yeah, so we never know where the values are until it fully grew up. Just that you never know how a kid will turn out. But I mean, that's the beauty about DAOs, right? They are so humanistic. They're almost like human beings by themselves, and rightfully so, because these DAOs is a community. Each DAO is a community of human beings that come together, sharing a common vision, purpose, mission, and like what you rightfully pointed out, innovating and evolving in their own individualistic way.
That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you'd like to learn more about CitaDAO, please go to CitaDAO.io and on Twitter at CitaDAO_IO. Thanks for listening to Crypto Sapiens. Please give us a follow, like, and a 5-star review wherever you enjoy your podcasts. And stay tuned for our next discussion.